This is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about how to demo and kind of teach My Little Scythe. Now, this is not a rules replacement video for My Little Scythe. This, rather, is just a way to get people into playing the game, either as a demo or at the beginning of a teaching session. This isn't when you're teaching them all the rules, just as you're getting people comfortable with what the game is so that they can decide, A, if they're at a store, if they want to buy it, or B, if they're learning the game that they already have or that they're with friends, that they can help understand it and start getting into the game faster than waiting through a 10-minute rules explanation. Really, if you explain all the rules of this game, it doesn't take all that long because it's not that complicated. But the object of My Little Scythe is, you can see on the board here, there's this trophy track. You're trying to get 4 trophies. Each player has 4 trophies. You're trying to get 4 trophies on this track. This is kind of like Scythe, if you've played Scythe, where Scythe has 10 categories. You're trying to put trophies on that track. But in My Little Scythe, the whole object of the game is to get the trophies on the track. There's no end game scoring that happens. So all you're trying to do is get 4 trophy tokens on this track. On your turn, you're looking at your little player mat here, and you are going to tell players how each of these actions work. On your turn, you're taking one of these actions. There are 3 different action categories, but there are multiple actions in some of those categories. Like you can see this middle category, there are 2 different actions. You can't take the same action twice in a row, so if a player has an action token here, they need to move it elsewhere, even here, or these actions over here on their next turn. There's the move action. On the move action, each player has 2 seekers on the board, and each of those seekers gets to move when you select the move action. If that seeker is moving while carrying nothing, they can move up to 2 hexes on the board. As you can see, the board is hex-based. If that seeker is carrying gems or apples, these are the resources that are on the board, that are carried around the board, that seeker can only move up to 1 hex. Over here on the seek action, this is where players get to have some fun rolling dice. When you roll dice, so they're going to choose one of these actions. There are different dice. You can see all the dice here. So they're choosing essentially 4 of these dice to roll. They're rolling these dice, and then based on what appears on the dice, they're going to put resources on the board. This is a fun thing to do when you're demoing the game because it's fun to roll these dice and fun to put resources on the board. So the top action says 2 red dice, 1 blue dice, and 1 quest die. So you can see I have these dice here. You're going to have the player roll the die, and the faces on the dice are colored, and they have a special icon on them. So all the red dice have apple icons on them. That means that whatever face this appears on, the player is going to take an apple token and put it somewhere on the board based on the color that appeared on the die. So for example, I use green as an example. So say the green apple shows up. They're going to take an apple. It's not a green apple. All the apples are the same. They're going to take a green apple, and somewhere in the green areas of the board, there should be, I think, 5 or 6 hexes that are green. They're going to put an apple on one of those territories. They can put it on any of those that they want. If it's a territory that has one of their seekers on it, that could be a strategy so that they automatically get that token. They could put it on an empty territory, or they could even put it on a territory occupied by another player's miniature. And if they do that, they gain 1 friendship. There's a friendship track on the board that they get to move up because they're giving something to another player. This is noted on the player mat in case you forget that they get a friendship for doing that. Also on the seek action, you have the quest die. The quest die puts a quest token on the board. This is one of the ways that you can win the game, by getting and achieving quests. But quests can't be placed on territories that have seekers on them or that have other quest tokens on them. The last category is make. Most of these icons are self-explanatory. With this action, you're turning 2 apples that you control on the board, into 2 pies. Pies are the resources that you use for pie fights, which is the combat mechanism in this game. You can kind of see that pie track over here. So you're going to move up the pie track. This next action, you turn in 2 blue gems. You have these gems, and you gain a magic spell card. This is another thing that you use in combat in this game. You draw a random card. And last, you can turn in 1 apple and 1 gem to gain an upgrade tile. Upgrade tiles are things that you can place on top of your mat to improve your actions. As you're teaching the game, you don't actually need to explain in detail how upgrading works. Last, before you end the teaching session, I'd recommend real quick going over the end game categories, the trophy track categories. So here's one that says have 8 friendship. That's on the friendship track. There's a similar one over here. Well, I'll go in order. This one says have 2 upgrades. That upgrade action I just mentioned, if you have 2 upgrade tiles, you get to place a trophy right here. And when players place trophies, it's always on their turn, and they can only place 1 trophy on their turn. This one says just have 3 magic spell cards. You don't have to turn them in, you don't have to pay them, you just have to have them. This says complete 2 quests. Remember those quest tokens that you're putting on the board using this die? If you have 2 quests that you've completed from gaining those quest tokens, you get a trophy. You can place a trophy there. The game has a pick up and deliver system that you can use if you want. You don't have to. These are all optional. If you deliver 4 gems to the castle in the middle of the board, you can put a trophy here. Similar to that, if you deliver 4 apples here, you can put a trophy token there. And you can only put 1 of your trophies on each of these areas, so you can't deliver apples multiple times to the castle. This says win 1 pie fight. The combat isn't a big part of the game. It's just a little fun part of it. But if you win a pie fight, you get to put a trophy there. And that's the only one you can do when it's even not your turn. And this one says if you have 8 pies on the pie track, you can see how it's noted here with the trophy itself. You can put a trophy on this track. There are obviously more rules to the game, but these are the things that you want to tell players up front as they're beginning to learn the game. And really, you can just do the actions one by one. You can tell the first player, okay, you do a move action, and I'll show everyone how that works. And then next, you can have the next player do a seek action, show everyone how that works. That way, players actively feel like they're taking turns even while they're learning the game. That's it for the how to demo, how to teach video for My Little Scythe. I look forward to hearing what you think when you bring this game to people that you care about or your customers, wherever you are. Thanks.